Today's workout is all about high intensity interval training using your suspension training system. We're using the Bow 500 suspension gym, however the workout is compatible with TRX or alternative suspension equipment as well. Let's get started with your warm-up exercise. Exercise 1 of this superset is abs rollout. So starting on the ball of your foot with a nice straight body, we're going to allow our arms to roll all the way until we've got a straight line from our ankle all the way to our hands, thereby really engaging your abs. Now you've got to make sure that you don't dip your hips. Particular emphasis on protecting your back for this exercise. Now you can see a steady rollout, but you're also seeing a steady negative return as well. For the second exercise, we're going to work some gentle burpees. These are like traditional burpees, except that we're stepping into them rather than jumping into them. And there's also no jump at the end either. So we're keeping the joint impact off our knees. We're burning all the calories without any of the risk in this exercise. Your turn to try the superset. This exercise is an isometric hammer press. So we're gonna lean forward with a straight body line. So have a straight line from your ankle all the way to your shoulder, and then get into that hammer press position with your elbows tucked in by your side and your hands neutral grip facing each other. Your turn to try this one. Starting this superset with a twister. So hands are glued together, elbows are soft straight, legs are nice and wide so that they're supporting underneath you. Now if you go too narrow with your feet for this one, that you might actually lose your feet. They might slip from underneath you. So make sure you stay nice and heavy and you stay nice and wide for these ones. Then it's just a matter of drawing a semicircle around you with soft straight arms. So you can see I'm creating that semicircle motion from one side all the way through to the other side. For the cardio exercise, we're going to get into our fighting stance and just throw some knee strikes. So you can see I've got a little bounce going as I work my way back, and then I squeeze, I throw that knee strike in. Really use your hips to try and maximize distance as far as your knee strike goes, and just stay nice and light on your feet. Your turn to try this superset. Isometric Chest Fly for this exercise. So we're going to lean forward and work our way into a crucifix so that you're making a perfect T with your body and just making sure that you're keeping your core engaged and protecting your lower back. Let's hold this pose for the duration of the set. Your turn to try it. Grandfather clock is a suspended plank that swings from left to right. Now these are controlled swings and we're really keeping that core engagement throughout this set. Now you can see I'm on the ball of the foot and I'm controlling by tweaking my obliques and squeezing my abs in order to keep the right range of movement. Now make sure you don't dip your hips for this one and make sure you're protecting your back. For the second exercise, we're running on the spot with high knees. So you can see I'm running on the spot, keeping my weight on the ball of my feet and just really lifting my knees, trying to keep my weight light, but I'm burning as many calories as I can as well. Let's get you guys to have a go at this one. isometric abs rollout for this exercise. So we're going to roll out into that abs rollout position, making sure that we've got a straight line from our hand all the way to our ankle, keeping the core engaged and keeping the back protected, and just holding this pose until the end of the set. Your turn. Exercise 1 of this superset is a side bend, or an oblique tilt if you like. So starting with my feet together, knees are remaining nice and straight, my hands are remaining above my head so there's no swinging of the arms. And then it's just a matter of dropping out until you're getting that oblique stretch and then squeezing your obliques to get yourself back into that standing position. Now we're going to do a set of this on either side. And then we're going to go into our floor exercise, which is some ankle taps or some lying obliques tilts. So this superset really emphasizes working your obliques. With this particular exercise, I'm just making sure that my lower back is pinned against the ground. There's not much of an upward lift at all. It's more a side tilt or a side crunch, if you like, until my hand reaches my ankle. Your turn to try this superset. Superman abs rollout for this isometric exercise. Now this is an abs rollout with one arm up where a normal abs rollout would be, and the other one's low and it's supinated, so it's facing forward. Now this is going to be hard to stabilize, so we're going to just try and hold our position as stable as we can, and then at the end of this set we're going to switch arms and hold with the other arm. This is going to be a nice tough challenge. Your turn. Starting this superset with some alternate lunges. So it's just a matter of stepping back into that lunge one leg at a time, and you can see that I'm not touching the floor with my back foot. So you need to try and keep all the weight on your front foot only. Now your lunge needs to be long enough in order to keep a straight shin bone as you do it, so that we've got the correct form going. And then just making sure that you're keeping a neutral spine throughout. For our second exercise, we're going to work some glutes bridges. Now you can see I've got my arms up so that I've got no support, but if you want to place your arms by your side, then that's okay as well. You can also see that my feet are at shoulder width, and when I push up, I want to make sure I get to that straight line from my shoulder all the way to my knee. The best way to elevate these glutes bridges is to really push down with your heels as you're lifting up. Good controlled tempo both on the way up and on the way down as well for this exercise before we change back into the alternating lunge. Your turn to try it. Single leg rollout. So this is an abs rollout with one of your legs pushing back nice and stiff so that all your weight is on one leg, and then we're engaging the glutes and hamstring as far as your raised leg is concerned. So you want to make sure you keep that raised leg nice and straight and your toes pointy. And then we want to try and maintain this pose for the duration of the set. Once you do one leg, we'll switch it up and do the other side as well. Your turn to have a go. The first exercise in this superset is some angel wings. So starting in an abs rollout with your arms extended and straight body line, we're going to bring our arms down into a crucifix position and then hold our position for a split second before working our way back into the abs rollout. You can see controlled movement in both directions and the arms are staying soft straight throughout the set. For the second exercise, we're working some push-ups and throwing some alternating knee strikes down the middle as well. So knee with your left, push up again, knee with your right, and so on. Again, making sure we're keeping that nice straight core line. And you can see nice deep push-ups. Now, if you have trouble doing push-ups, you can do this one off your knees, and then you elevate back up into the prone position in order to throw the knee strike. Your turn to try this combination. isometric inverted row for this exercise. So you can see I'm starting with my feet parallel and my hips lifted. I'm going into that isometric inverted row by holding a straight line from my knee all the way to my shoulder, and then I'm pulling the suspension cables all the way until my hands are touching my ribs. Keep your elbows tucked in and maintain this position for the duration of the set. Your turn. Starting this superset with a single arm row. So very important to start with your legs nice and wide so you've got ample support there. And then it's just a matter of keeping your shoulders nice and square, extending your arm out, and then when you pull in, you're pulling with your elbows tucked by your side and just trying to get your hand all the way to your ribs. So we want full range of movement. For set 1, we're going to do one side, and then for set 2, we're going to switch and do the other arm. Before we get into our floor exercise, which is going to be some rollovers or half rollovers if you like. Now I've got my arms up to create a guide, and I've also got my shoulder blades and head lifted in order to protect my back. And then it's a matter of trying to keep your legs as straight as you can keep them when you throw those rollovers up, and returning slow and controlled in order to protect your back. Your heel doesn't touch the ground at any point until the end of the set. Your turn to try this superset. Inverted isometric T row for this one. So this is a pretty tough exercise, guys. You can see that my hands are in that T position with a straight line from my elbow to elbow, and then I'm maintaining another straight line from my knee all the way to my shoulder, and just making sure that my feet are remaining at shoulder width. Now you've got to try and maintain this pose for the duration of the set. If you have a lot of trouble doing this one inverted, you could do it with straight knees, which will be a lot easier. Your turn to try this exercise. Exercise 1 of this superset is a plank. So staying nice and static, keeping a straight line from your ankle all the way to your shoulder, keeping the core engaged, and just holding on for the duration of the set. Now I'll give you guys a quick tip. So if you've got the stirrups near your elbows, you're going to be able to control it a lot better than if it's near your wrists. So be careful where you position your straps. You can see I'm holding my hands together, and that's going to assist with more stability. For the second exercise, we're going to work some cardio through some front and back hops. Just jumping feet at shoulder width, working our way back and forth, and just staying nice and light on the ball of the foot for this one. Your turn to try this combination. isometric front delts raise pose for this exercise. Now this one's really tricky, and it's a hard one. It's going to be one of the hardest of your isometric exercises. We want to try and maintain a line from your ankle all the way to your hand as straight as you can. And you've got to make sure that you're keeping your spine nice and neutral, and that your delts are completely active with soft straight arms for this one. You're going to really feel this in the back of your shoulders, in your traps and in your rhomboids as well. Your turn to have a go. Pulse row for the strength component of this superset. Now you can see I'm doing it from an inverted position, so I've worked my way in and I've got the bent knees going. But if this version is a little bit too difficult for you, you can start standing further back and keeping your knees nice and straight. Make sure you extend your arms all the way out. When you pull in, bring your hands all the way to your ribs, get that extra pump in there. And just make sure you've got good control over your movement. Elbows stay tucked in the whole time. For the cardio component, we're working some up scissors. So this is going to be a nice hard core exercise for you guys. You can see the scissors is vertical, and I'm trying to keep my knees as straight as I can keep them. Now your flexibility will determine how straight your knees are and where you keep your foot position. But I want you to try to exercise maximum control over your movement. You can see I've also raised my head and my shoulder blades, which is going to keep my lower back protected throughout this exercise. Your turn to try this combination. Working a split stretch for this one, and we're gonna lean forward to try and really get into the adductors. So let's start with a moderate split. Make sure that your knees are soft straight, and then lean forward with a neutral spine and your arms nicely extended, and just try and hold that pose for the duration of the set. Your turn to have a go. Starting the superset with some side leg raises. So you can see that my foot's remaining nice and horizontal. So as I throw the leg up, the highest point is my ankle. And then I'm trying to touch my cable with it so that I'm getting good range of movement. Very important to maintain your body line. So we're really using our abductors, but we're also using our obliques as well for this one. We're going to turn around and then we're going to do the other side as well before we go on to our floor exercise, which is some bicycle crunches. So with this one, as you crunch up, we're going to try and connect opposite knee and elbow together, really going across your abs and working those intercostals. Just make sure you've got steady control over your motion, return it nice and slow, and just work this one at your own pace. Your turn to try this superset. suspended static chest stretch for this exercise, guys. So you can see I'm using my favorite lunge stance to get me into the right position. And then it's just a matter of making sure that your elbows are soft straight and we're stretching the chest out as much as we can. So make sure you keep the wrists nice and straight and just try and push your chest as far forward as you can without compromising your back. Hold this position using your favorite leg for the duration of the set. Your turn. Starting this exercise with some nice lengthy Bulgarian lunges. As I drop down into the lunge, I want to try and keep as much balance as I've got, and we want to try and keep that front shin bone as vertical as possible. So in other words, the lunge needs to be relatively lengthy in order for you to not hyperflex your knee. We're going to work the Bulgarian lunges on one side before swapping and doing the other side. And then for our cardio exercise, we're going to work some King Kong slams. So this is like dropping a slam ball onto the ground. We're going to really emphasize working that squat, keeping the feet parallel, keeping them at shoulder width, and really getting some work done, particularly out of your quadriceps. Your turn to try this combination. a fold over posterior stretch for this exercise. So you can see that I'm lifting my toes right up and I'm keeping my knees straight and just folding forward. Now you've got to make sure that you push your tailbone out and push your butt out during this pose, and that you hold your position for the duration of the set. You can see I've got my head tucked in, so it's almost a perfect fold with straight legs and straight body. Make sure you feel a really good stretch in the hamstrings as well as your lower back for this one. Your turn. Well done for getting through your workout today, guys. Let's take a moment to stretch and cool our body back down now. Comment and let us know what you thought of today's workout, and remember to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all the latest workouts.